Icy wind slashed at his face and the rain danced its evil dance upon his head as he tried to get his bearings on the isolated mountainside. A young Tobirama Senju was resolved to mastering a new jutsu that would, in his opinion, transcend the realm of traditional ninjutsu, but to do so, he needed the utmost concentration. He journeyed a great distance to an area among 3 mountains that were eerily reminiscent of wolves. While scaling one of these mountains, Tobirama iterated the complex jutsu theory in his head and refined his chakra control. He knew by the time he reached the peak, he would have adequately prepared for testing his theory. Lightning ripped across the ashen sky as Tobirama arrived at the mountaintop. Rain drilled down from above, drenching the hirsute mane of the armor he clad. Treading slowly to the ledge, his mind flooded with his meticulous training that led to this point. Standing over the edge, Tobirama wore a resolute look. He glanced at the bottom of the mountain where he had left an integral part of his jutsu, the formula mark. It was printed boldly on a stone. If he could transport himself back on it, he would succeed. Tobirama leaped off the cliff, raising his hand seal swiftly. Transport! At that exact moment, thunder roared and lightning flashed before Tobirama's eyes, striking him. Everything seemingly went dark as he passed out. Regaining his senses, Tobirama awoke to a dimly lit open area. Clouds magically seemed to compose the ground beneath him. In the distance, he seemed to make out a shrine. Tobirama ventured to it and discovered a stone monument in the shape of a lightning bolt at the center. Below it was a faded seal. He read it slowly, deciphering the almost incomprehensible markings. Thunder and storms, from which a god was born, Tobirama uttered. The seal glowed as lightning crashed down onto the shrine. Through the light emerged a muscular being hovering on a cloud. His face was fearsome, and strangely, he was surrounded by drums. Tobirama stared at the being, perplexed. What kind of freak show is this? He said. You're a funny ningen. Who are you and where am I? I am the God of Thunder, Raijin, and this is my realm. I saved you with my lightning before you could get ripped apart by your improper space-time ninjutsu, so I didn't have it right after all. Damn it! I will guide you though, mortal one. You shall become my champion. Complete my 3 trials of Raijin, and you will perfect your space-time formula and become a powerful warrior. Fine then, bring them on. Raijin laughed hysterically in excitement, beating his drums viciously, creating a roaring thunder. Raijin tossed Tobirama a scroll labeled Trials, which he unraveled and examined. 1. You must repair the shrine of the Thunder God. 2. Learn the language of thunder. 3. You must catch Raiju. Tobirama closed the scroll, looking forward resolutely. The Senju clan rises to challenges. He started with repairing the shrine. The lightning that summoned the god had caused a lot of damage. With the swift movements of an experienced shinobi, the shrine had been restored in no time. Next, Tobirama focused on his connection to nature. If he was to understand the language of thunder, he had to be in tune with it. He listened for when Raijin played his drums. Thunder followed. Upon tapping into his new level of nature awareness, he heard things that he had not before. Actual, comprehensible words. It was like music. He had discovered the true nature of the language. Finally, one trial remained. It was to catch Raiju, but Tobirama was confused. Where was this Raiju? He approached Raijin with the question. Raiju? Oh, of course. He is my companion. Be careful though, he is quite rambunctious. Raijin played his drums, creating an elegant, calming song that Tobirama could discern now. It was the language of thunder. Through the darkness, a giant black and gold beast leapt over Tobirama. Lightning bolts glowed across its midnight fur. You must catch Raiju before it leaves my realm if you are to travel back to the earthly realm and correct your jutsu formula on that rock. If you don't, you'll be stuck in this realm for the rest of your days. A blast of wind shook the realm as Raiju burst out running towards the brink of the realm. Tobirama, shocked, turned around and went after the beast. He used the body flicker technique to even be able to remotely catch up. The barrier was approaching for the earthly realm. Pressed for time, Tobirama took one final leap into the air and grabbed onto Raiju's electric coat. Seconds later, Raiju transcended through the barrier into the earthly realm. They appeared on top of the mountain Tobirama had scaled earlier. Raiju didn't stop though, leaping down the mountain effortlessly until they were at the bottommost path. Tobirama hopped down from Raiju's back and proceeded over to the rock where he had placed his formula initially. Upon looking at the formula again, he instantly realized where he had gone wrong in his theory. How could I be such a simpleton? He thought. Understanding the proper formula directly correlated with knowing the language of thunder. He placed his hand on the rock, imprinting the rectified formula. Upon this action, Raiju howled powerfully, calling forth lightning that struck down on itself and Tobirama, transporting them back to the realm of Raijin. Tobirama landed in front of the shrine. Raijin floated by on a cloud, facing Tobirama. Raiju followed to the god's side. I see you have completed my trials, mortal one. You are indeed a true champion of thunder. Raiju seems to even take a liking to you as well. I shall reward you for your warrior spirit, Ningen. Raijin raises his hand outwards, lightning flickering from it. Raiju proceeds to caress its head on Raijin's hand. Suddenly, Raiju's body explodes into electricity, forming into something peculiar. Tobirama looked on with fascination. The hilt of a blade hovered where Raiju once stood. Come forth, morsel, and take the sword of the thunder god, the weapon of my champion. Tobirama reached out and grasped the blade firmly, intuitively pouring his chakra into the hilt. A bright yellow beam of electricity ignited from the center. Tobirama waved the blade around, captivated by its workings. He then rescinded the blade back into its container. I'm appreciative. Now, I think it is time I leave this realm. Thanks to your guidance, I've unlocked the key to completing my space-time ninjutsu. Raising his hand into a seal, Tobirama exclaimed, "It's only right my jutsu honors your name. Flying Thunder God!"